episode for higher juicy news. Mima Ubibia Aquaba. I had the latest hot Unqua Eramene Bremo. And it so young subscribe to channel the album or the say over subscribe. The way I say over click a year the subscribe button, you know. Now what belly notification. We understand video for free be upload when the first person on sa ebeka a year sa video. I feel we are now what like video no. Give us a thumbs up. Nafi shema wo fufro na when you be here now wo hu ensemo ekoso wo Ghana me mu hanom afi ye hwe ye ensemo abeto ye no so enti a year sa report ya ababeto you guys hansem we enti.
So the minorities reaction to the introduction of this tax, they walked out. It was actually a walkout, but the majority went ahead and passed it. Uncle, what are your thoughts? Necessary but painful or unnecessary?
Well, I don't even see the pain.
Okay. So this is what happened in Parliament yesterday.
Yeah, I don't see the pain.
They vacated their seats.
And my brother, I think the minority should start getting serious. You know, it's taking too long for the minority to start getting serious. In spite of the imposition of this tax, petroleum prices are much, much cheaper than they were 4 months ago. Is that not the truth?
That's a fact.
In spite of the imposition of this levy, petroleum prices are climbing down. So this minority show, and luckily one of them is here with us, he perhaps would explain to us what all this is about. You understand?
Right.
The point of the consumer is that we cannot deal with escalating fuel prices. It leads to increasing in food costs, it leads to increases in transportation costs and so on. But just last week, public transportation costs came down by 15%. So what is the protest about? I don't understand. You know, Collins, my good brother Collins may explain. And I know that he's quite eloquent. So I'm waiting for him to explain this their show in Parliament. What it actually means, because as far as I'm concerned, it's just an empty, useless show who doesn't bring anything. Okay. Now, in addition to what I've just said, we have a huge problem with the power sector. In fact, the entire energy sector is riddled with debt, estimated in the billions of dollars.
$3.1 billion US. That's the original.
How do you pay that debt? They should show us how to pay that debt. You understand? And we are in this situation also partly because before the first Mahama administration left office, it instituted measures which would have enabled us to retire the energy sector debt. They came and used it as a guarantee for loans.
You mean ESLA?
ESLA. They came and used it as a guarantee for loans. So now, that measure which was instituted to enable us to deal with the energy sector debt has been wasted, completely wasted. Now we are all experiencing doomsday, and it's interesting when the NPP is in power, when you experience doomsday, they say, no, it's not doomsday, it's doomsday. The NDC has also come to power when you talk about doomsday. They say, no, it's not doomsday and so on. Master, doomsday is just simply experiencing power outages. That's doomsday. We are experiencing power outages. Erratic, sometimes very erratic. You understand? So the point I'm making is that we have a problem with the energy sector, especially with the power sector, which would affect industrial output, which would affect everything in our country, which would affect production. We need to find ways of plugging the holes, of paying the debt. And if we can find ways of doing that without increasing the hardship on our people, what can be better than that?
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. And I'm willing to listen to my brother here to explain why this measure is so bad, so very bad that they had to walk out of Parliament. He perhaps would explain, you know.
All right. You walked out yesterday, Collins. You must have very compelling reason why you walked out. What are your reasons why you walked out? Why didn't you want to be a part of this?
First of all, I started the debate on the floor yesterday.
Okay.
And I made the point very, very strongly that as a minority, we are against any attempt to increase taxes on the ordinary Ghanaian. Uncle Kwesi's long-standing position on taxes has been that he's always with the ordinary Ghanaian. Today, he seems to be okay with this current increment, and that's my surprise.
My brother,
you see a shift.
Let me give you a piece of advice. Yes. Especially when I'm sitting here with you.
Yes.
Please learn that you cannot speak for me. I speak for myself.
All right, okay, I hear you.
And your deduction that what I've said is not in the interest of ordinary people and so on is very problematic.
All right, I see.
What ordinary people really want is that they don't want to see transport fares go up. They don't want to see prices of food go up. They don't want to see the cost of educating their children go up and so on. And that's what I've always stood for.
General cost of living.
General cost of living. And I'm saying that in this particular case, in spite of the introduction of this tax, petroleum prices are going down. Are you disputing that? In spite of this tax, generally prices are going down. So what is your point?
This tax has not been implemented yet. When they start the implementation, we will know whether petroleum prices will be where they are or they'll go up. Yes. And listen, this energy sector levy, just in March, just this March, Ato Forson came with a bill. This is an amendment too. He came with a bill. And let me read the memorandum to the bill. March. Currently, the Energy Sector Levies Act 2015, Act 899, does not make provision for the use of the proceeds of the levies to service the debts taken over by government. For this reason, government has decided to restructure and consolidate the Energy Debt Recovery Levy, the Energy Sector Recovery Levy, this is the Delta Fund, the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy, and the Sanitation and Pollution Levy into a single levy to be known as the Energy Sector Shortfall and Debt Repayment Levy. Now, there's a catch. This consolidation will, however, not increase the amount charged on each of the petroleum products. This was in March. This was in March. He says the levies, it will not change, it will not increase. This was in March. We in the minority, we expected this. When he came to Parliament to take away some of the revenue lines and created the impression that he's with the Ghanaian people, he has taken out e-levy, he's taking out betting tax. We knew we were going to get here because he has to find a way of closing that gap. That is where we are. Listen, last year, 2024, the e-levy that we talk about, it's rate in 2.1 billion. E-levy. What this means practically is that the amount of money it took away from the Ghanaian people was 2.1 billion. This new act that he's brought, yesterday he gave us a fiscal impact analysis. He's projecting to get 5.7 billion.
5.4
billion, which is double the price, double the amount.
Not 5.4?
I'm saying you can even use 5.
Or use 4.
No, it's a 5, 5.7. I have it here. I have the fiscal impact analysis on my phone, which is double the amount.
And the reason why I'm saying it's 5.4 because we consume 450.
No, he gave us the figure.
Oh, that's his figure.
He gave us the figure.
I don't know how you arrived at it
because
because I've been doing my own, but anyway, that's fine.
He intends to get 5.7 billion.
Okay.
Which is twice more than the e-levy.
So what's the problem?
So the amount taken out from the Ghanaian people is doubled. It has doubled. His argument, the whole argument is that exchange rate has stabilized. It has come down. So the gains that he's making, he thinks we should share the burden. That's basically what he's saying. All the explanation that he gave on the floor. We were selling at 16 cities. Now it's 13 cities. There's a 3 cities rainfall. So that 3 cities that is coming to you as an ordinary Ghanaian, give me 1 city. That is basically that's what he's saying. That is it. Listen, I have the bill here, the old bill. Petrol. This is per liter. And people should listen. It's per liter. 1 gallon is 4.5 liters. So when you buy 1 gallon, you are paying 4 cedis, 50 pesos.
Yes.
Per gallon. 4 cedis, 50 pesos per gallon. When a VIP bus buys 30 gallons, you can imagine how much you pay. This is an increase. No amount of explanation by Ato Forson on the floor. Yesterday we met them. I told Ato, all this explanation you are giving, the bottom line is that you want to increase fuel. That's what you want to do. The only respite he has is that the components, there are a lot of components that leads to the pump price. One of them is having a very positive, favorable outlook, which is exchange rate.
True.
That's all. And the rainfall he's making from there, he thinks he should just put it into another new tax. That's what he's doing. That is exactly what the position he's making.
But what do you find wrong with that?
Oh, so now you don't find it.
I want to know what you find wrong.
It's not strange, Kwesi. It is not strange.
Let me explain why it is very strange.
It is not, Kwesi. It is interesting that
very strange.
It is interesting that now you don't find anything strange.
No, I'm not
asking you. It's an increase in
No, I'm asking you. No, you just explained. No, Collins, don't get wrong.
One component of it.
Yes.
One component. What you are doing is that one component is making a good shortfall, good rainfall.
Yes.
So let me take part of it and push it. Oh, I see.
Honorable.
You are robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I beg you.
That is what you are saying.
Honorable.
That is exactly what Ato Forson is doing.
When your government was leaving office, what was the price of petrol?
Kwesi.
Today, what is the price of petrol? Has it increased?
It has gone down because of an exchange rate stabilization.
And shouldn't we benefit from the exchange rate stabilization in order to address other sectors of the national economy?
Let me also tell you.
What are you talking about?
No, Kwesi.
But that is how the economy is run.
That is not it. Last month you increased electricity by 14.5%.
Me?
I'm talking government. I'm talking about the government.
No problem, government. But
I'm coming.
Honorable.
When
you were leaving office,
it's not about me.
No, your government. When your government was leaving office.
I'm talking about the government.
Hold on.
I am saying that,
Honorable. Very simple. No. Don't let us get into this highfalutin things and so
on. No, I have to explain that.
Question.
Yes.
When your government was leaving office, what was the price of petrol? What is the price of petrol today?
It has gone down.
How can you have the moral authority to be complaining that the price of petroleum products are going up?
Kwesi, I have I have every right to discuss what they brought to Parliament. I have every right to do so. They have increased electricity by 14.57%. They have increased water by 4.02%. They are increasing a liter of fuel by 1 cedi.
Is that why you walked out yesterday?
Oh, Kwesi, as working out, as part of the parliamentary process.
No.
We walked out because
I want to understand
we walked out because we don't want to be part of this. That's the basic principle.
Okay.
We don't want to be part of it. We don't want to be part of, and no amount of explanation. Listen, last year.
No, we haven't answered my question.
I've answered your question.
No, my question is when you were leaving office.
But I've also told you that the price was higher than what we have now, and it is lower now because we have some exchange rate stability. That's fine. But the government is saying that the exchange rate that you are getting, that let's do a practical example. Dollar was 16 cedis. Now it's 13 cedis.
It went to 17.
17 cedis. Let's do whatever. 17 cedis. And now it's 12 cedis or 13 cedis. You are making a profit of 4 cedis. That 4 cedis that you have as extra, that's your extra income, disposable income. You are being told that 14.57% of that is going to be used to pay electricity. You are being told that 4.02% of that is going to be used to pay electricity, water. You are now also being told that 1 cedi of that is going to be used to pay for electricity, fuel. And you think we shouldn't complain about this?
Honorable, I have a second question for you. Honorable, I have a second question for you. Can I ask my second question?
Oh, why not?
Yes. At the time you were leaving office, the power sector alone was indebted to the tune of almost $4 billion. How do you propose that the incoming administration pays for that debt you left behind? Power sector debt of close to $4 billion. How do you propose that?
It's a very good question. When the minister came to Parliament, even proud to, and last time I was telling you about John's appearance here, nobody should tell us they didn't know what the problem was before they entered government. They were clear in their mind. They knew what the problem was. Ato came to Parliament to read the budget. What impression did he give us? What impression did he give us? He says he's taking off taxes and that there are more innovative ways to rake in money. That's what Ato said. We're here in Parliament. Me try 11, me try betting taxes, The total amount we got from those places, what he's done now, is double. He has robbed Peter to pay Paul. He has taken e-levy out, brought another e-levy. That's what he's done.
You haven't answered my question.
That's what he's done. Oh no,
you haven't answered my question.
Kwesi, I just want to focus on my point. I'll answer your question. You're asking about ways to do it. Is that not it?
Yes, show me how else the problem can be solved. Show me.
Kwesi, it's not, I'm not on the line. Oh. I'm not in government. They are in government. They should be magnanimous enough.
But you have a responsibility, even outside government, to be reasonable.
We
have a
being
responsibility to be practical.
We are being reasonable.
When you are criticizing a certain policy measure, you should have an alternative, a better alternative. Show me your better alternative.
We are being reasonable.
Show me how reasonable you are being when there's a debt of close to $4 billion hanging on our necks.
That debt was there since January when they came to power. That debt was there when he came to Parliament to read his budget. He did not make any provision. Now he is seeing that all the populist thing that he was talking about, any tax wave, is not sustainable. He is back to charge the same tax and even more. That's the point you are making. Already you are taking 14.something% on electricity, 4.something on water. Now you are charging per liter. A liter. You watch when they start this implementation of this. You watch.
So, what? Honorable, how do we prevent a total shutdown of the power sector of the national economy as a result of rising debt? How do we do that? Show me. Show us. Everybody is watching. You are a very articulate young parliamentarian. You are. Show us how to deal with that.
But he's just told you that he's not been voted for to solve problems. There are people who have been voting for to solve the problems, so they should deal with the problems. That's what he said.
Master,
that's what he said.
That's not what he said.
No.
Because
he said somebody has been voted for.
I beg you. If that is what he said.
Yes. Aremeyaw Anas.
Master, if you insist that that is what he said, you portray him as an irresponsible parliamentarian. Yes, that's what you'll be doing. And I think it's unfair to him. I don't think that he is irresponsible. I think he's a very responsible person.
Yesterday.
The duty of the parliamentarian is not just to go into parliament and kick against everything. The parliamentarian has a duty to make suggestions for improving the conditions of life of the Ghanaian people, to make suggestions which will remove hardship, which would make sure that the power sector runs and so on. And I want to believe that that is the role they are playing in Parliament. I want to believe that my brother here is a responsible member of Parliament and that his title, Honorable, is earned. I want to believe that. You understand? And that is why I'm posing the question.
You know that I'm responsible.
You know. And that is why I'm posing the question. All that we have said, how does that take away the huge debt of close to $4 billion that the power sector is carrying?
All
that you have said, I'm coming. Just hold on. All that you have said. Compare petroleum prices 4 months ago till now and see whether the suffering of people has been alleviated or not alleviated.
This has not been implemented. This has not been implemented though.
It will not take petroleum prices to your level, to the level you left.
It's not about my level.
Do the calculation.
The Ghanaian people decided that my level was bad. So he has taken me out of government.
Yes.
The guy who was coming in said that when I come in, I will have innovative ways
of not reaching your level. I'm saying that this measure will not reach your level.
No, he said he has.
Will it reach your level?
No, he said he has innovative ways to change the fortunes. Do you think if NDC during their campaign has said, when I come, I'm going to increase taxes to take care of the debt, do you think they would have won the election? Do you think they would have won the election if they had told us that when I come, one of the ways to deal with the energy sector debt is for me to increase the levies?
But Collins,
you are being so unfair.
No, I'm not unfair.
Now let me explain why
I'm not being unfair.
Now let me explain why you're unfair.
I'm not being unfair because you are putting me on the spot.
No, can I explain why you're unfair?
I'm saying that I'm not the one in charge.
Can I explain why you're unfair?
The people in charge created a certain impression
Because you just heard him.
Yes, created a certain impression.
Hold on.
Don't expect him to give you
When they come,
yes.
Look,
and I'll tell you my
brother, I
solution.
want to protect my brother.
Yes, but I'll tell you.
That's why I'm not giving him hard punches.
Yes.
I'll tell you my solution. I'll tell you what I think should be done.
Listen. Why you are being very unfair? In the last elections, one of the campaign messages of President Mahama and the NDC was simply that they introduced a levy in order to deal with the energy sector debt. And that if that levy had been used for purpose, the energy sector would not have accumulated such huge debt. Is that true or not?
True.
So how can you sit here and say that they didn't tell us that the introduction of a levy to deal with the energy sector debt was on the cards? They told us that that was their solution. That their solution was ESLA, didn't they?
Yes.
So are you not being very unfair?
No, their solution.
You are being extremely
their
unfair.
solution was not to increase. If Ato wanted to increase, when he brought this bill,
Why do you reduce everything to Ato?
He's the finance minister. He brought this bill to Parliament, and I'm saying that this bill is just an amendment. He brought the bill in March, and in March, this is what he told us in his memorandum: that he's not going to increase.
I wish somebody else were on the panel today, advancing the kind of arguments you're advancing.
No, but
you know, because with you, I'm constrained. No, I'm being very honest. With you, I'm so constrained.
This is what he told us.
You know, we'll take a breather, but what I do know is that, you know, John Jinapor for a very long time, even when he was in opposition, when in government, has said it time and again that we have a huge energy sector debt to deal with.
Yes.
But he always says, and I want to put him on record, which is that we all have to find a way to pay for that debt, because we obviously don't expect either the president or the vice president or a minister or anybody to pay. It's going to be all of us. Now, the issue you raised about what appears to be either an afterthought or what appears to be a bit of a shift in position, which was that we don't necessarily have to introduce any new taxes or new levies to deal with the problem, and that there are innovative and creative ways of going about things. And this is a legitimate concern you raised. But it doesn't take away the philosophy undergirding what has happened. The philosophy has always been that we have to find, we have to tax our way out of the problem. And the NDC, as you do know, as a political party, have always resorted to that. And so that's why we have ESLA.
Okay, that's fine.
Right?
Okay.
So somebody can argue that perhaps the party has just been consistent
The taxes.
with introducing taxes as a way of dealing with some of these,
if that's what
of these
you're saying,
problems.
The price of the product you are
It's
talking
fine.
about
Yes.
is far lower than it was
Yeah, but
when
obviously-
you were
no, but
exiting
obviously-
office.
yeah, but obviously,
Everybody knows
that's
that.
And
just-
it will
that's-
continue to be lower
Yes,
than the price when you were exiting office.
but
What are you calling
that's
it?
just
It
one.
can
That's
be
just
more.
one aspect
That's one
of the
aspect of
conversation.
it.
Show me the other aspect.
The other aspect has to do with, like you said, what was said in the past,
Yes.
and what is being said
What
today.
was said?
It's here.
Moro,
In the
what was
budget?
said?
In the budget, when we all had Ato Forson.
Yes,
He
what
said,
did he
look,
say?
for a very long time, we've been suffocated with a lot of taxes and levies. We don't need all some of these taxes. Let's take all of
In
them.
fact, he was prepared to move a motion on the floor of Parliament.
Listen. Two of you, please listen.
Okay.
What he was saying was that his government was going to take measures to reduce the hardship,
Yes.
as expressed
Yes.
in increased petroleum prices,
Yes.
as expressed in increased lorry fares, as expressed in increased cost of food and so on. Is that not what he meant?
Right.
So why are you taking him out of context? As we speak, I insist that the price of petroleum products are much cheaper than they were 4 months ago.
Nobody's arguing about that.
And they will continue to be much cheaper
Nobody's
than they
arguing
were
about
4
that.
months ago.
Nobody's arguing about
So
that.
where has the finance minister betrayed the people, or where has the finance minister done something which is against what
The
he said?
gains that he's making with the FX, he's finding a very nice way of taking the money back on the people. That's what he's doing.
Okay. All right.
The gain that he's making, he's increased electricity, and obviously in the budget. In the budget,
At
this
least,
quarterly adjustment,
Bro.
even in the budget, senior,
Bro.
even the senior angle,
Bro.
even in the budget.
At least in this case, at the very least in this case, they've made some gains and they are taking some of the gains, at least in this case. In your case, you made no gains and still took.
Well, it's a very valid point.
It's a very valid. That is when
So compare the two. Compare the two.
We were
The
not
base
out
of
of
gains.
No. You see.
But I'm saying that the current situation is better than your time.
Yeah, but you see, it's going to be more better.
At the end of
And so you want it to be more better.
Let me tell you something. Now,
He says he wants it to be more better. It is not enough to be better. It has to be
he
more
was the
better.
best. He was the best.
Kwesi, don't take it out of context.
No, but that's what he
Yes,
said.
yes,
He
yes.
wants
He
it
wants
to be
he wants
more
more.
better.
Kwesi, you've made
Instead of
gains.
better.
You've made gains.
Yes.
Kwesi,
I will
yes.
not
No,
proud.
no. You've made gains in FX.
Yes.
Everybody acknowledges that.
Yes.
I will not
But you
proud.
are charging.
If that is your objective,
That is
I will
not my
proud
objective,
you.
Kwesi.
That you
You
should
are
be more
charging.
better instead of better.
Kwesi,
No
between this
problem.
morning, you've not allowed me to
But
speak now.
he's never disagreed that the situation has improved.
Nobody has
never
said.
Oh, so he agrees that
No,
the
no,
situation has
So when you
improved.
said that the petrol
But
price
he
has
wants
come
it to
down,
improve
wants
more.
more, yes. he wants
I go to the pump
I
myself.
don't have an argument.
I go
Let's
to the
carry
pump
on.
myself. I go
Okay.
to the pump to buy.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm
So
saying
let's
that
carry
what
on.
he's
You can feel it.
doing is taking us back to the status quo.
No, but that cannot be the status quo.
Oh, please. All the gains you are getting, listen, you want to go to the pump.
Yes.
Let's say it was 15 cities.
Yes.
Now it's 4 cities.
Yes.
So there's a 3 cities.
Yes.
So you're happy.
Yes.
That 3 cities that is a gain to you, that now is disposable income to you.
Yes. Yes.
Electricity has increased by 14.5%.
Yes.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, but
Take your time. So Kwesi can ask and say that, Collins, when you were leaving, fuel at the pump was this price. It has come down. That's true. When I was leaving, electricity was at a certain price. Now it has gone up.
okay.
That's the point I'm making.
Collins, are you
When I
aware?
was leaving, I'm coming. When I was leaving, water was at a certain price.
Yes.
It has gone up.
Yes.
So you are making some gains here and pushing everything onto us.
Okay.
Don't we have the
All
right to make an argument
yes.
about
so,
that?
So, Collins, are you aware?
And this is a quarterly adjustment.
Yes. Collins, are you aware that there's an independent body called the PURC that is supposed to be making quarterly adjustments?
You are talking. You said
No, but I'm just making a point.
I'm
When
very
done,
much
you can come
aware.
in. Okay.
I'm very much aware.
Now, when
That quarterly, it said adjustment. It didn't say quarterly upward
That is
adjustment.
true.
Yes.
so they take all kinds of variables into consideration.
Yes.
And we all know what the variables are.
Yes.
Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is that
Yes.
are you aware that regardless of whether the dollar, there's a stability in the CD or not, in the appreciation of the CD or not, these quarterly adjustments we're talking about would have still happened, regardless.
And they happen under your government.
So you can imagine a situation where we're not even enjoying proceeds or we're not enjoying from the stability of the CD. In addition to these adjustments, which had to be made, regardless of which party won power anyway, regardless of which party had won power, the natural expectation is that these quarterly adjustments, which are legal, right? You can't really do anything about it. In fact, if they don't, somebody can take PURC on. So the point I'm trying to make is that the point I'm trying to make is that regardless of how you see it,
I'll answer you.
regardless of how you see it, the fact that there have been some quarterly adjustments and now we're raking in some proceeds or we're making some gains as a result of the stability of the CD, and today we want to tap into those gains in order to solve a problem.
Excuse me. When PURC,
No matter how you look at it, we still have made some progress. haven't
no,
we?
you are not being fair.
Okay.
When PURC increased the 14.something%, what was the argument of government? Did they say that it would have happened anyway, or they said because of NPP's IMF negotiations?
Okay.
That's the point I'm making. Let's be fair to ourselves.
Right.
The argument they made here on this same platform and other platform was that the 14% is as a result of NPP's ineptitude and the kind of negotiations we did with the IMF. No, it's not the argument you are making. That is what they said. In fact, in the budget, when Ato Forson, I'm coming, I can read it to you.
Yeah.
When he was talking about adjustment, you know what he said? We are going to continue with the quarterly adjustment as agreed by the previous government and the IMF. That's what he said in the budget.
Is that true?
Uncle, you see?
Is that true?
It's not
Of
true.
course.
The IMF has said that you should continue to do what you do all the time, that adjustment,
Yes.
which will come anyway.
Yes.
But the argument is that
So
we have
what
increased.
is false about what he says?
No, Uncle, see.
What you have
No,
just said
Uncle,
and
see.
what he said.
His
How is that different?
No, his narration is that this quarterly adjustment
Would have happened
anyway.
Yes.
Even if
Wouldn't it?
Yes, but you see, but the argument they made, the NDC made when the increment came,
Okay.
was that
But there's
we
no
are
NDC
increasing.
person on this panel.
No,
Is
I'm
there
just
an
no,
NDC
I'm
person
not.
on this
No,
panel?
he-
There
the
is.
point he
Are
made.
you?
No, I'm not.
No, Uncle,
I'm not.
Well, I'm
a
certainly
journalist.
not.
Yes.
I'm
You're the
certainly
managing
not.
editor of the Inside newspaper.
Exactly.
You see, the argument, the point I'm making is that
Yes.
you cannot say when there's an increment and Ghanaians are crying
Yes.
that hey, don't blame us. It was because MPP signed a certain agreement with the IMF. That's why there's an increment.
Okay.
You heard this argument
Yeah.
here on this platform.
Yeah.
It was not because it would have happened anyway.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making.
Okay, fair point.
Thank you.
Yo, it for winning and someone about beto yepuno so Mikau says so when you subscribe to channel idea bomodi say obe subscribe. Now I like video to give us a thumbs up, nafi share my wo fufro so na we be here now and somewhere koso ewo Ghana memoir. Also with me otchere wadwen afa yes some we nyira ho ewo comment box ni mu mobeti nkabio in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.